tell me three challenges that you think in your line of work that professionals who are doing what you do right now are gonna face, and give me some example of how you yourself you deal with them in your line of work.
Yeah, there are three challenges when I think about that. There's one in terms of just the situation that we're in with our inflation, economy, supply chain.
Yes.
Those aspects have an impact on businesses, and as a result, do present some challenges based on companies that you're a part of and some of the real pain points and problems. And so what it sometimes leads to is a tightening of yourself.
Yes.
You feel the pressure to execute and deliver and really kind of manage things tightly, and there's a lot of pressure from that standpoint, which again comes with the territory.
Yes.
But that's one. A second is, to me, I go back to that aspect of culture.
Yeah.
When you're talking about young professionals, those that are coming out of college, where you go and the culture that's fostered at that company will make a difference.
Wow.
I think about it from a standpoint of internships, and there are some internships that they may be esteemed, but for you, it may not feel like a fit, or
Yes.
or the type of work is just something that you feel is mundane and not exciting, and that type of aspect. So being present and aware of that to kind of look and see what other opportunities exist is important.
Yes.
So always make sure that you have a updated resume. Always make sure that you are pushing your manager even to how can I help grow, or are there other things that I could be doing that can help unlock some of that fulfillment. And then the third aspect is, again, the dynamic that we're in, working from home, and that aspect. In some places you still have protocols in place, so the on-site experience isn't quite the same. The challenge with that of you can isolate yourself, right? And so this interaction is important and vital. And we're getting to a world where that's becoming more and more rare, but it's still important. So finding ways of connecting, having that experience is a challenge. And in my space of areas of operations and technology, where the technology that's in place makes that easy for that flexibility, we have to be creative in finding ways of how we can interact and drive some of those relationships, because I think that is vital to companies.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. So I have to ask, if you would start over today, what would you do differently in your career?
Wow, that's a great question. I'll be honest, this is a hard one for me, because there are always things that I'd say I'd refine it this way, or I'd pursue. I would have pursued maybe communications more so than engineering, or there are always things like that. But to me, I must say I'm very happy with the way things turned out.
Okay.
So I'll answer it, as opposed to saying here's a regret or here's a change. I'd say it's my attitude.
Okay.
Right. And in every situation, I spent a lot of time looking back.
Wow.
I didn't like that decision, and I keep focusing on that decision that's over here.
Yeah.
As opposed to moving forward. And so I spent a lot of time wasted of focusing on what was missed and what didn't happen, as opposed to quickly having that selective amnesia, so to speak, to where you're able to say, okay, that's happened. Now we move forward.
Yes.
And so being able to constantly have a mindset of moving forward, continuing to the next thing, is, I think, vital.
Wow.
In the work that we do.
Wow. I know we talked about that before at the beginning of the video, but what do you think is a good balance? Because you've worked for quite a few companies, and big companies, I must say. So what do you think a good balance is? Because job hopping is a real deal out there. So, what do you think a good balance is, as far as how long you stay in a company? Some people stay 40 years in the company, some people stay 5 years. So what do you think a good balance is?
I've dealt with companies where there have been people that This is the only company they've worked for. They've
Mhm.
been there for years and years. I'm a loyal person by nature. So for me, I'm not one. Even though I've been at many companies,
Mhm.
I didn't look at it from a standpoint of I'm job hopping or I'm
Yeah.
looking to the next thing. When I'm in it, I'm in it.
Yeah.
But I will say that there's three things, right? Are you growing?
Okay.
Do you feel you're appropriately compensated? And are you learning along the way? So if those three things, I always say that you have to at least have two of those three. But ideally, you want all three.
Yes.
And so if there's ever a point where you don't feel you're growing or learning, then you need to kind of explore. But I'll say this, have those conversations with your manager.
Yes.
A lot of times we don't challenge our manager enough to say, here's what I'm working with. Sometimes we just get discontent and leave.
Yes.
And I think the way that should be handled is identify, here are the challenges. Can we help and work and progress and develop? Because what I'm finding is in a lot of companies, those opportunities exist
Yes.
within that company.
Yeah.
And so there's not, when you find something solid that you're a part of, you have to think of why did I join it, right? And go back to those basics of here's the culture that I love, or here's the aspect of it. And don't be so quick to quit on that.
Mhm.
Is the way that I would look at that, I think.
Wow. Wonderful,
Mhm.
wonderful. Oh, Donovan, I am so glad you took the time to come on Professional Lunch today. And I know time is not on our side at this very moment because you have to go. But I am so grateful that you were here today for a professional lunch. And I know, man, we talk about so much here. The students, the early career professionals, all professionals who are going to listen to this are going to get a lot from this conversation.
Wonderful.
And I have to leave the door open for you whenever you are in town, and even try some kind of Zoom or some kind of
Absolutely.
team and see how we can have some ongoing conversation about what I'm doing with Professional Lunch and how you can be a mentor to some of the young people that are getting their major or just starting their career right now. Please tell me you would do that because I would like to have you.
Absolutely. This is a pleasure of mine, Rico. I'm just honored to even just be able to sit with you today and share what I know.
Absolutely.
And I'm happy to do so.
Wow. Thank you so much. And now, this is the part that I tell you. It's up to you to make today a great day. So have a great day.